today we got Dr. Josh Stoneking today. You're a friend of mine. Today we're going to talk about recovery. Nice. So today we're going to talk about recovery. So now people ask me questions about recovery. Like you might have seen C.T. Fletcher. I mean, I like C.T. Fletcher. People see like he show how he pumps his muscles all the time. He does biceps workout, and the biceps got big. He said, grow. So some of you have this concept, if they work at the same muscle all the time, you know what I'm saying, they get bigger quicker, you know? So it's like a misconception. You know, when you tell people to rest, you gotta let it rest, they're like, well, why? You know, I want to get big. So tell us, like, what is the deal behind recovery?
I love C.T. Fletcher, actually. He's incredible. And I wish I could scream at my biceps to grow the size of his, because remember, he's literally like the world curling champion. Not a joke, but not to get off topic. When in regards to recovery, right? We all understand, and it's very well proven over decades, that rest is when you grow, right? And rest isn't necessarily just sleep, but sleep, for instance, you have to sleep an adequate amount of hours to release that increase in blood flow, which brings more oxygen and more nutrients and increase in hormones for you to heal all of those little tears in your bicep, right, that you're causing by working out, so it can regenerate and grow. The more you tear it over a period of time, the bigger it grows and grows and grows and grows. Now, the misconception, right, is you hear both ways. That scary word, overtraining. You've got some badass motherfuckers in the gym that say there's no such thing as overtraining. I can do arms every single day, all day, every day, and I'll still grow. Well, there are things that can help you do that. Those are just considered performance-enhancing drugs that increase the healing process faster than just the human body normally can do that, okay? So yes, rest for a natural athlete is a must. You have to rest as hard as you train. Now, that doesn't mean you got to lay on your ass all day long and sit on the couch, right? It means you have to get adequate amounts of sleep. A lot of your devices now, I see most natural athletes wearing an iWatch, a Fitbit, a Whoop. A lot of those will help you track the correct amount of sleep you need to recover. Some of them even have a function like strain, which shows you how much you exerted during the day and how many hours of sleep you need to get that correct amount of blood flow, nutrients, and oxygen to your muscle to heal so they can grow. Because guess what? You grow when you sleep. You don't grow when you're in the gym. Even though you got a sick ass pump, that's a different conversation than recovery. But that's what it is. So I recommend step one, if you're taking your recovery seriously, sleep is the most important factor. How will you monitor your sleep? Please use your iWatch. Please use your Fitbit. I have a Whoop. That's what I use just by choice. And that'll help you get an adequate amount of sleep so you can recover from all those bicep workouts. And all those micro tears you're causing during the workout will then be healed, and you'll grow, and grow.
Now, let's talk about the app. What's the app again you said? Because
wrist, actually, without plugging them, is called a Whoop, okay? And what it does, it helps monitor my sleep at night. It also monitors what they call strain. So it shows basically the exertion on my body throughout workouts, cardio, golf, whatever it is throughout the day. And then it'll tell you, hey, you need to go to sleep at 10 o'clock, right? You need to sleep 8 hours and 15 minutes to fully recover. I haven't slept 8 hours and 15 minutes in probably 10 years, but at least it helps me understand where I need to recover. And if you're not a good sleeper like myself, right, I have a very busy mind, there are other ways to boost recovery, right? And some of those things we can talk about.
Now, what other things could we boost recovery? Like, do BCAAs, does that work? Or is there any, does that really work, like BCAAs and stuff like that? Amino acids?
So from a supplement perspective, right, let's talk BCAAs first before I get into a product that I actually approve of more. So we know what the branched chain amino acids are and their benefits, okay? We've seen a lot of clinical trials and just basic peer-reviewed studies that say they don't do much, and others say that they do a lot. So there is misconceptions out there. For me, I do not take branched chain amino acids because I get them throughout my diet on a daily basis. So I do not find them to be as beneficial as their cost, okay? The problem is with BCAAs is usually they're between $30 to $60, and there's all kinds of promises within those. If they were a cheaper price point, when you look at the data, there's a minimal benefit, okay? There really is. Is there a benefit? If you want to argue, yes. Is it a minimal benefit? Yes. So most people say there's no benefit at all. So for the cost or price point, it's usually not worth it. The product I like to take for recovery that is clinically proven is glutamine. Okay. Glutamine you can purchase solely in a powder or capsule for a very inexpensive price. And basically, without getting too scientific, it decreases how sore you are. Okay. So what does that mean, right? It helps with blood flow and getting this correct nutrients to the area to prevent lactic acid buildup, which causes that soreness. So you can take glutamine on a daily basis, not just on your workout days, and that can help decrease soreness. Therefore, if you're less sore, that means you're recovering quicker. So that's a quick and easy one that I would take over the BCAA.
Nice. Now, what like you said meats? You said like food, like you can get it from the stuff you eat. Like what stuff can you eat to get those BCAAs? What's the most beneficial food to eat to get the BCAAs?
Yeah, high protein diet, steak and fish, you'll find those in there, right? Sometimes you can even find a little creatine, right, in some of your meals that you eat, right, from a natural perspective, but not nearly high enough, because we do see creatine as clinically proven also to help in recovery. So those are some products, especially as a natural athlete, that you do want to keep in your system. Creatine is another product. It's easily dosed. It's weight-based. We know how much you need. We know it doesn't hold water, or you would need to cut it because it holds water. There are molecules out there where it doesn't bind the water, so that'll help you as well.
Now, yeah, that's another question I had about, because people talk about creatine. Like it holds water, you get big, but then when you stop taking creatine, you get back to your normal size. Is there any clinical study about that?
Yes.
True.
There's lots of data on creatine, right? So here's the best part. Creatine is clinically proven to basically increase muscle growth, right, and recovery, for lack of a better term. Obviously, it's not going to compare to a testosterone cycle or a trenbolone cycle, guys, okay? So that misconception has to go away. Okay, you're not going to take creatine and put 4 inches on your arms in 2 weeks. All right, that's just not how it works. It has to be used over a long period of time, but we have seen the benefits. Some of the misconceptions when creatine first came out is there was this loading phase, which you still see some individuals discuss, where you need to saturate your blood and your body with a high level of creatine for you to hit your dose. We do not need to load creatine, okay? You can take the weight-based dose that you would need off of your body weight, which is just a simple multiple. Most on the label on the back, so you know how many capsules or scoops you need to take. Creatine stays in your body also daily. It's not just on lifting days. That it does increase the speed of recovery in athletes, especially natural athletes. So, men's physique, classic physique, right? Always a fan of this product in our natural athletes, as this is not a performance enhancing drug. This is not on the WADA list. It is not even considered a drug. It is a supplement that is naturally occurring in nature. It has just been reformulated over and over again. So to talk to the question of, does it bind to water? So there is some molecules of creatine potentially that it can bind to water, but there are newer substances out there. From the creatine perspective, it's just basic creatine monohydrate, where we've seen that the binding to water is minimal, where it shouldn't make you look bloated, blown up, or full of water. Reasons in your peak or your prep, and you can't blame it necessarily on creatine.
Now creatine, that's like, you look at some supplements, there's different kinds of creatine. Is there one creatine better than the other, or does there one creatine, like some people make comments on blogs that some creatine can cause problems with your kidneys and livers? What's the difference between the creatines they got?
Creatine monohydrate. So you basically just want to stick with that version, right? A lot of supplement companies have kind of ramped it up to different perspectives where there will be some form of benefit in it. There is a product that I personally have taken for about a decade that I find it superior, and it's a pH-based product, so you absorb it better once it's in your body. It's a EFX Crealkaline product, so without plugging them, that is what I use. It comes in a capsule. They have the weight-based dosing on the back, so I know how much I need to take, or anybody needs to take, to reach those goals. Also with absorption within the body, right, is something that you want. So basically, very inexpensive. Creatine monohydrate is where you want to go. It's the most studied. That is most of what is in these creatine super supplements anyways. So just do your research to make sure that it's sourced correctly. It comes from the right good manufacturer practices, and then you should have no problem as long as you follow the dosing correct. The kidney, I know we've seen in the past with potential kidney stones, and that has basically been done as a myth. Unless, of course, you are some crazy person that is loading astronomical amounts, because remember, Ernest, you can eat too much, candy and have a kidney stone. So anything in a crazy amount is bad, but taking the correct amount on a daily dose is highly, highly, highly unlikely you'll have any kidney or liver issues.
Now, what about like carbs? Do they help you anything in recovery? If you eat carbs before you work out, like before you do leg day or chest day, does that help you any, or does that make any difference?
Yeah. One way to recover, right? If you go out and you're CT Fletcher and you're just blowing your arms up every day and then you put no nutrients back into your system after that workout or the following day, you are not going to recover, because you're basically starving yourself, right? You have to feed and fuel the muscle to recover so it can get the correct nutrients and the oxygen and blood flow to recover so you can grow. So of course, right? Carbs is our fuel. Carbs is our brain fuel. I will always sit here, and some believe in no carbs, low carbs, high carbs. I'm a very big fan of carbs. When I go through prep, carbs do not leave my system. I even take workout in a powdered formulation so I can have that fuel in my body. I find carbohydrates obviously to help fuel me longer than, say, caffeine or a pre-workout product, which gives me that crash. So I'm a huge advocate for the carbs in your body before and after you work out, obviously to give you that energy, right, for you to go through your workout and to help speed up with recovery because you're fed correctly. So yes, to answer your question, it's yes and yes.
Now, does test boosters, does that help in your recovery as well? Like some people take the natural test boosters. Does that have anything to do with it?
Some natural test boosters before. I'm not really a big fan of any of them. Most of them are basically bullshit, right? I don't have a better term for it. We talked about the DAA. That can be helpful. So increase in testosterone or naturally producing your own testosterone is difficult to do through an oral supplement. But we have seen slight increases with some of those products. Will it help speed up recovery? The answer is potentially yes, right? We know if you're injecting testosterone, right, it will help speed up recovery as well as growth hormone, which those 1000% will do that. That's why you see even athletes who have a significant surgery, right, will be prescribed these products to help speed up the recovery. It's also why we've seen some professionals go overseas to Germany and other European Union countries where they can get these injections to help speed up recovery as well. And that's a whole nother conversation because stem cells is the key to recovery, but it's a little bit of a taboo subject here in the United States, but those work very well as well. So booster, basically the recovery probably is less than 5%.
Now, what other things can a natural athlete take to help with their recovery, speed up recovery, or help with their recovery?
Supplement. I like the, I'm a huge advocate for the ice baths or cryotherapy. They're basically the same thing. Okay. Ice bath is significantly cheaper. We know what the ice bath does, right? It reduces muscle soreness. Also, it helps with your mental toughness, which I absolutely love. Fast since you're 7 years old playing little pee-wee football. Crazy thing on the internet recently. It's not new, guys, but we do have really good data that shows the health and recovery benefits of sitting in the ice bath. Cryotherapy is the same thing, okay? It's just a high-tech, quicker way. You walk in, it's 30, 60, 90 seconds, 2 minutes. You're out, you're not freezing nearly as much. And that, of course, increases your muscle repair and decreases soreness. We have good data on those things. The other thing I love, right? Get a massage. Okay, massages can help break up scar tissue. They do decrease lactic acid buildup. They do help with numerous other muscle issues that you potentially can have. Getting yourself a percussion gun. Yeah, the $100, just in case you don't have $100 to go to Massage Lux down the street and get a 60-minute massage, right? That can get expensive. Their percussion guns are shown to do relatively the same thing. They break up that scar tissue. They decrease muscle soreness. They help with mobility. So you have to take care of your body. So those things are much cheaper and equally as effective as potentially taking some form of supplement, like handling recovery from the exterior just as much as the interior. So those are two quick and easy, cheap things that you can do as a natural athlete to, boost your recovery and speed it up, basically.
So now, what about cupping? Like some people might see like videos we have cupping. Does that do anything, or is that something like a myth?
No. Usually I get it done to myself. Obviously, it's no secret what's going on there. You can see the blood flow after right, the cup is removed. You have a really cool little mark looking like a warrior for a couple of days, right? So basically, the moral of recovery is increased blood flow to the area, right? How do we do that? Sleep, right? That's one way. I'm talking ice bath, cryotherapy, massage. You're increasing blood flow basically to that area. So that's what cupping is. It goes into target areas where you increase blood flow for that specific amount of time so you can get the nutrients that you need there to help you recover. I personally use it on flat spots. So what do we mean by that, right? So sometimes my chest is flat. Sometimes for bikini girls, their glutes are flat, right? For whatever reason, where they've just been overtraining or their carbs are low, and it can help kind of draw that back out by increasing that blood flow into an area that may be just decreased for whatever reason when it comes to training or lack of nutrition or whatever reason. So I do like cupping. I am a fan of it. I also like things that aren't super expensive in recovery. We have somebody here in Tampa that basically does cupping for like $20 to $30 on you. It's not, it's an easy. I'm an advocate for cupping. You will see those marks on my body, and I do recommend it.
So I didn't know that. So like in flat spots, so they have to have flat spots cupping?
Yeah. What I use it for, right, is I have this problem in my chest where I'll train, and eventually it just wants to basically, like you could say, collapse or concave in the upper pectoral area. So using those cups on top to bring that blood flow back to that area to kind of rejuvenate it and get it back alive really helps me stay balanced as I go through my prep process, because for some reason for me in my advanced age, the top of the chest just wants to go in.
How often do you do that? Like when you cupping?
More obviously when it comes to cupping for recovery, you want to follow a pretty steady routine, just like a massage or anything else, every other week, every 3 weeks, every week usually sometimes is overkill. But as for me, it's when I look in the mirror and I see it starting to kind of go inverse, right? So we use it on an as needed basis. This prep, I've only done it once thus far, and I'll probably be doing it again in a couple of weeks as we get close.
Nice. So what other nuggets do you have about recovery? Like what other nuggets people can use or take that help recover?
New methods out there, which I really like, right? And two of them that you're starting to see would be basic sleeves on your legs. I know you guys have seen the big, bulky black sleeves that cover your feet, right? Where it's basically pressure on your legs and it can kind of adjust and move and wave to where we've seen that, again, increase blood flow to help your wheels. That's in a lot of athletes, especially our bodybuilders, right? These guys, classic guys, want to have these big defined wheels with minimal scar tissue. So we have seen those. That has been fantastic. I have not used them personally, but we've seen a lot of great outcomes with them thus far. Not necessarily an expensive process. They're just not everywhere. We've also started to see these new machines coming out, which send electrical impulses through your body through pads that can help increase blood flow to the area and also send different types of currents to the muscle to help them recover, right? Some of those are the new X machine, the new Fit machine. These can be expensive. One session can be between $100 to $200, but they have a lot of data on those machines, even though they're new, that shows increase in recovery. They call it like a neurological reset, so it helps with some mental things as well. So those are two of the newer things we've seen on the market for recovery that are absolutely starting to catch a lot of waves, as you see, by a lot of athletes. And then the final one that I love to see now, because some of my personal friends are these, is the chiropractors are starting to really gain a new level of trust when that wasn't necessarily always the case about a decade ago. I know we all see the chiropractic cracking videos now of these chiropractors making these loud noises. My college roommate's a chiropractor. I grew him in his wedding, so I'm a big fan of going to the chiropractor. I do believe in their methodologies, and everything basically in the human body runs through the spinal cord. So we want to make sure, that is from a healthy perspective and standpoint. So chiropractic, actually, even though it's an old method that's been around for the test of time, We've seen it catch a lot of notoriety and popularity recently, so I'm a big advocate for the chiropractor as well.
Nice. Now, what about stretching? Like I'm bad at this. My coach will tell me you need to stretch, but a lot of them do go to the gym. We just want to hit the gym. We don't want to think about stretching. Does that help or help in recovery?
Stretching is athlete doing. It's something probably every single professional athlete besides our yogis, right, will tell you they need to work on, because it's the complete opposite of what an athlete wants to do. If you're an athlete, you want to move. That's the whole reason you're an athlete. Most athletes do not want to sit still, right? Unless you're a yogi, right? We have my great friends who run yoga studios that do a great job. But they have the ability to sit and stretch for hours, right? So is it beneficial to your body? Absolutely. There's no question about it, right? The more flexible you are, basically, the healthier your muscle fibers are. That's just how it is. You build something called elasticity, which can prevent injury, as we know, and absolutely can help speed up recovery, because you're working scar tissue and lactic acid out of the muscle when you stretch. And the more mobile you are, elastic your muscles are, therefore you can do different things with your body, right? And obviously prevent injury. So stretching is a yes, Ernest. You and I do a shit job at it. But our yoga friends on this call are all laughing and smiling, and we should get one of them on here to teach us and tell us the secrets to stretching the right way.
Now, when you work out, is there a minimum amount of time you need to rest? Like a lot of us, some people say you work the chest this day, then skip a day, and you work chest again. Is there a minimum or maximum amount of time you need to rest before you hit it again?
Question, Ernest, and I've seen numerous, I almost called them prescriptions, fitness plans, that'll tell you like, hey, do this, set your timer for 30 seconds, do it again. If you want to grow muscle, right, you need to rest longer, right? Like do the bench press, 3 sets of 6, heavy as shit, and wait 3 minutes in between every set. I have a different belief, right? Because I don't know your heart rate, and I don't know how quickly you can recover. And me saying, Ernest, you got to wait a minute, and then I'll tell somebody else they need to wait 3 minutes, I don't necessarily know that. So what I like to recommend is when you're performing an exercise, obviously your heart rate is going to increase, or you don't have enough weight. Okay, so you need to perform the exercise to exertion to where your heart rate goes up. When you're done with the exercise, you can regain your breath and your heart rate goes back down, not to your resting rate, right? But back down to where you can catch your breath, you can breathe, and you can feel recovered. It's time to get back and do another set. So you have to judge it upon yourself, is what I've always told everybody. Now, I have many people argue differently with me, and they truly believe setting a timer is the way to go, which, remember, everybody's different. But what I will always recommend is, because I don't know how long it takes for you specifically to recover to an exact time, I'm a field player, as they call it. So I'd much rather recommend one of my personal friends and say, hey, perform the exercise to exertion. Okay, your heart rate is up, you're breathing heavy. It's been 15 to 45 seconds. Is your heart rate back down? Obviously not to resting. And can you, back down to a normal respiratory rate as well? It's time for the next set. So when I'm with a friend, I'm basically watching them to tell them it's time. And sometimes it's 40 seconds. Sometimes it's 30 seconds. Sometimes it's a minute, right? We really just killed them on the last set, right? Or we made them do a couple extra when they didn't want to push. So I'm much more of a field player when it comes to that perspective, instead of recommending an exact 30 seconds, 40 seconds, 2 minutes rest.
Nice. Yeah, so thank you very much for the interview, man. Oh, and I want to say congratulations, man, on your event you got coming up.
Appreciate it, man. I can't wait to jump on an interview with you and talk all about the Showtime Classic. We're excited to finally get it going.
That'll work, man. I'd like to see you again, hear from you again soon, man.
Soon, brother. Thank you so much for the great interview.
Are you welcome?
Powered by Riverside.